So welcome to the commentary on the Sadhana. Remember, this is a brief commentary on the Sadhana. The main teachings are in the evening time. So bring to mind your motivation. I'm here for more than myself. It's interesting when you do something for another person, and especially someone that you love. So let's say you have a child or someone you love a great deal. You have so much more strength in what you want to do. If you're just doing it for yourself and you get tired and unhappy, then you quit. It's easy. But if you're doing something for someone else, it can be a lot more powerful for you. So I'm attending the teachings of Vajra Yogini. Again, if you don't have the initiation, it's not appropriate that you should listen to this. That's for people in the future who might be watching YouTube videos. So again, bring to mind someone that you love. I'm intending for them and then for all sentient beings. And in front of us, if we follow the commentary of Mochu Dhamma Vajra, we have Buddha Vajra Dharma. Around us, we have all sentient beings in the aspect of Vajra Yogini. In the commentary, it says you don't over-identify with Vajra Yogini, you'd have just a clear appearance whilst taking refuge in doing the other practices. Do feel that you are in the mandala of Vajra Yogini. You're without implements because you're receiving teachings. So although we'll do the prayer of Guru Chakrasana Vajra Yogini in front, as I said, the commentary of Mochu Dhamma Vajra was it just says Buddha Vajra Dharma. In the space before me stands Guru Chakrasana and Vajra Yogini in union, surrounded by a host of root and lineage gurus, yidams, Buddhas, bodhisattvas, tathas, and protectors. I in the infinite space of being beings take refuge in the glorious gurus. From now until we reach enlightenment, we take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I in the infinite space, all beings take refuge in the glorious gurus. From this moment until we reach enlightenment, we take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I in the infinite space, all beings take refuge in the glorious gurus. From this moment until we reach enlightenment, we take refuge in perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of samsara. I shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that, we practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that, man practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that, man practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. I bow down and take refuge in the gurus and the precious jewels. Please bless my mind stream. Okay, so we're up to doing the recitation, the yoga recitation, which would be Yoga 9. Combination verbal and mental recitation. Again, remember, this is just a overview of the Sadhana so that you can watch this. If you're just focusing on the Sadhana, the commentary at night is the very extensive one. So you would do the 8 praises to the Vajra Queen. You do the praises to the Vajra Queen with the Namo Bhagavate, etc. I'll talk about those when we come to the longer commentary. So the 9th yoga, combining verbal and mental recitations. In my heart center, upon the red double reality sources, in the center of the moon disk is a bomb encircled by the red mantra garland going counterclockwise, which radiates immeasurable light rays, cleansing all beings' negativity and obscurations and making offerings to all the Buddhas. They invite back all the blessings, abilities, and powers in the form of red light that dissolves into the syllable bomb together with the mantra garland, and my spiritual progress becomes fully blessed. Okay, So remember that if you're doing the just the standard self as Vajra Yogini with the standard, this the double stack reality source, then you okay, actually first, having done the 8 praises to Vajra Yogini, I'm sorry, the Namo Bhagavate prayer, then you should do Shine. You should do calm abiding a little bit. And it's because at that point you are fully consecrated and blessed and such like that. And so therefore that identification is really important. In Mexico, when we do the practice, we do the 8 praises to Vajra Yogini, but then we also do the praise to see the smiling face of the Dakini. It's a page-long prayer. It normally comes a little later in this long sadhana, but we do that because we're doing the short sadhana. And in doing the short sadhana, of course, it takes about 20 minutes to do that. And then we do that to just sort of, again, really give a lot of enthusiasm to our practice. And then we do calm abiding. Now that is in the short sadhana. The long sadhana, also at this point, you would do calm abiding. It's just you focus first. And the stages are always first the identity, then allow the image to slowly form up. And then you try to hold that and things. If you do have the opportunity to do a retreat and you really sort of develop a little bit of calm abiding, it can be very powerful. And what you can do is, like if you're feeling you're inside the mandala, then you can sort of, let's say, you create something through your concentration, and it has a message for you. And then you can hold that a little bit, then you can create something else over here which has a different message for you. For example, things are impermanent, or death is definite. And that way then, as you hold those in your calm abiding, they're continually giving you that message. Now that does require a bit of meditative capacity. It's not something easy, but I'm just sharing with you that as you develop, do understand that the phenomena that you're creating in your mandala can hold various messages. In the practice, for example, when you focus on the mantras in your heart, you should feel that each syllable has its own sound and its own color radiance. Now again, this is when you're in calm abiding, not reciting mantras. So the Om, 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 each Om has its own Om. It's like a little neon sign with the sound Om, 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 Sarva, Buddha, like that, so that you do that. Again, these are exercises for concentration. We go to the gym for working on our body. We go to meditations like this to exercise our mind. And when you do that, why, for example, when you do the graduated path to enlightenment, you gain some clarity about, for example, death is definite. At the end of my life, I'm only left with my relationship that I had with those phenomena. What sort of relationship do I have? So with my possessions, what's been my relationship with them? Has it been one of pride and arrogance, or has it been one of generosity and goodwill? With my relationships, it's not how someone has loved me. It's what have I offered to that person? I've offered security and love, patience, things like that, wisdom. So at the end of your life, as you're lying on your deathbed, you feel good. Hey, life, I did the best I could. Remember, we're not the Buddha, in reality, in a relative way, but we want to feel good about who we are. So if you have some clarity that material possessions are not the ultimate source of happiness, that's an understanding, and that's something that you can generate and hold that feeling. Or whatever, like whatever happens to be the particular ones you want to work with. But having that then, when you're with somebody, and let's say, you're a bodhisattva with sentient beings, you try to generate that state of consciousness, that they are, let's say, you might say, in your mandala. So realizations about like what's important in life, being conscientious in your karma, things like that. They are feelings within our body that we can project. I remember in 2006, I went to the Kala Chakra initiation in South India with the Dalai Lama. It was great. And then I met one of my really, really good friends who'd been in Nepal at the the start of all of this with Lama Yeshe, And so we're sitting there chatting, and I wanted to gossip. Well, what's happening with so-and-so? What's happening with so-and-so? It was gossip. I would call it Dharma gossip, but it was gossip. And he wouldn't reply. And he didn't say anything. He just said, oh yeah, they're okay. And then I asked another question about somebody else. Yeah, they're okay. And then I suddenly got it like, oh, I'm gossiping. And he's not responding. Now, he didn't say, I don't gossip about other people. That would have been laying something on me. He just, oh, nice, polite. And so I got it. And I went, wow. And I mean, I often think Dharma gossip isn't bad. What's happening with another person? Are they doing well? Things like that. Those are, then say a prayer for somebody if they're a friend. But anyway, the point is that we as Buddhists, we don't evangelize. We try to live our path. And if we're living our path well, people pick up on that feeling. So that's something that when you're doing the calm abiding, you can focus on the blissful young body of Vajra, and that sort of stimulates your nervous system and creates more chi or more energy. That's good. There's nothing wrong. But you should also make it meaningful. She is bodhicitta. So that although you hold that vision of yourself, the wonderfully blissful Vajra, she's got the things that are meaningful, like the cleaver. Okay. Like samsara is intense, shit happens, it's intense. Her cleaver that she has, I described it in the initiation, but it's a round blade, and it has a hook on it, on the top part, like a little hook. And again, it's rather gross, but that's for, you put it in the stomach of an animal and you pull it up and it cuts open their whole stomach. And then with the curved part, you scrape out all of the fat and the intestines and everything like that. That's what it's for. That's why that thing. So with Vajra, I mean, what she does is, you could say she cuts open the guts of samsara and scoops it out. She catches it in the skull cup and she drinks it. She doesn't have problems. Okay, so when you sit there and you're Vajra and you're doing, okay, I'm Vajra, the identification, I came from Dharmakaya, that's great. But then you can say, okay, I cut open the stomach of samsara, and it means is that I gut it. Like, so it's not like that I'm weak. No, I can gut samsara. So what do you gut? Your misunderstanding of phenomena, that you exaggerate phenomena to be truly independently existent. That's what you got. So you want to have that confidence, say, see, Vajra, you do it for me. And then not only that, but then she scoops it with her skull cup. It's blood, so it's supposed to represent, your commitment and such. And if you talk about life, the essence of life is blood, so that's what she's drinking. But it also means that she consumes whatever she gutted from samsara with glee. So again, there's a whole different energy. I mean, Yamantaka has also a cleaver and a skull cup in his first two hands. It's more aggressive, like more intense about yourself and things. And you have power and confidence and capacity. And the whole image of Yamantaka is that. Whereas Vajra plays with things. She's in ecstasy. So she's got her tongue a little bit out and she's dribbling the blood into her mouth. And she has that, that sort of quality. And it's important to sort of identify that sense of confidence and capacity. So when you do identify and do calm abiding, it can have lots of flavor. Maybe at one moment you can't generate all those flavors, but you can generate some of them, maybe the ones that are more important for you at this particular time. I got reality. I can consume reality with happiness. And then you hold that in your mind. It's a blessing. You have to remember, like, if we're experiencing something, it's a ripening effect of past karma. So the ripening effect of past karma most likely is coming from delusions, especially if it's not much fun. So then we're suffering because of the previous accumulation of bad karma. But now we're injecting brand new karma into that situation. Often when you talk about karma, you say like, you are the ripened effect of your karma. So right now, whatever you're experiencing is the ripening effect. So, okay, so then you say, okay, well, I have to accept my karma. But no, that's a limited view. You have to turn around and also say, oh, in this moment, because I have a better understanding, I'm creating new karma in relationship to my situation. There's in Nepal, they have this apathy, so a long time ago, a friend of mine was in Bodha, and around the stupa, there's a Nepalese man chopping wood, and at one point his axe flipped off the piece of wood and hit him in the leg and cut his leg wide open. He fell down, he's lying there in the ground bleeding, and about 5 or 6 Nepalese came around and standing there all looking at him. and this American woman, she came up and she says, well, what happened? He says, oh, he cut his leg open. And she says, well, what? She says, oh, it's his karma. And then she says, well, it's going to be my karma to take him to the hospital. And there's this apathy because this is view of like, oh, that's your karma. It says, grovel in it and die. That's the completely wrong view of karma. Okay, if something's happening, okay, it's a ripening effect of history. How I respond is the whole new creation of the future. So that's where if you identify with Vajra, and this is in your calm abiding, you really have a whole new set of karma. Let alone, okay, I mean, that's just a simple way of looking at it. Then move to Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya is pure consciousness, open like the space of the sky, everlastingly blissful. Your personal freedom, feels wonderful. But because you're a nice person, so to speak, you come back into the world as Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. Now, when you generate those, you have to remember that is bodhicitta. And so you could say bodhicitta is first applied to your own delusions. So previously in the teaching, I says, whatever is happening, like, may I bring my anger into enlightenment? May I bring my competitiveness into enlightenment? So you establish a enlightened relationship with those phenomena. And what that means, if you do that well with yourself, if you're nice to yourself, you're not hard on yourself, then when other people are in your life, you're nice to them, helping them go forward because you cultivated that in yourself. I remember a long time ago, I used to teach about karma. So let's say, I have a wound on my hand and I have a scrubbing brush and I sit there and I have to clean this off. You do that. Okay, that's like, I have a delusion and I have to kill this delusion. This delusion is bad. I'm going to use some caustic soap and I'm really going to burn the hell out of this delusion. I'm going to clean it, And so, okay, it's one way to deal with your problems, but then somebody else comes along and you say, oh, we're going to be caustic on your delusion because that's what you learned. You didn't learn any compassion. So really, when they talk about compassion to yourself, and this is my understanding of it, you should really say, have compassion to the delusions. And what that means is you have compassion to yourself in the past when you had a misunderstanding and you created some karma that now you're having to experience because it's ripening on you. Okay, so you then say, may I bring this delusion into enlightenment, which is bringing your past self who created the karma to a better position. And if you have that type of, you could say love to your delusion, when somebody is angry at you and really in your face, you can have love for them. All this is very important. When you do sadhanas, there's the mantras and the flicking of nectars and things like that. But what it really represents is a shift in personality. You're coming from Dharmakaya. You got introduced to Dharmakaya in the initiation. So stop identifying with being, so-and-so mundane person with so-and-so issues. Now you're going to say, no, okay, whatever my rebirth of this time is, it's in the context of my Dharmakaya mind. It's in the context of my Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya mind. So I have this whole different relationship to it. That's really the practice of Tantra. That's abandoning the mundane sense of self. But it's not, again, like, oh, that myself doesn't exist, that's not right. What it is that, okay, I have this past accumulations of karma, but it was because I identified with being, I don't know, say from Hungary, just doing it or whatever, Remember, I used the example of having a birth certificate from a certain country. And so I'm from Hungary, I have these problems with Hungary, and this and that, then you say, oh, okay, no. Actually, I just found out that my birth certificate is from Sweden. And Sweden's got a great country. It's got great social services, and hopefully, I'm joking, okay. But the thing is, so suddenly you have this whole new identification, and you don't have to look at, oh, I'm from Hungary and I'm a Hungarian. No, I'm Swedish. Okay, so I now have this Swedish perspective on the previously activities that I had as being a Hungarian. Okay, that's just an example, but the point is, you're coming from Dharmakaya, you have a new, more enlightened, open, spacious perspective on this rebirth and the stuff that's coming up in it. So again, this self-identification is not just, vivid. It's identification, I am Vajrayogini, and then you try to have the clarity of being Vajrayogini. And first you do the identification, and then with some time you then shift over, and then you do the clarity of self, the image and the mandala and the bliss swirls and the cemeteries and the Vajra floor, wall, ceiling, roof, and then the fire outside of that with darts and arrows flying through it to kill all the negativity. I mean, if you can, you try to do that. It's not like you need to stress yourself about it, but it's sort of, I am in the center of the universe. I am Vajrayogini inside my mandala, perfectly protected, and I have bliss around me. And then, okay, now then comes, what does it mean to be Vajrayogini, the identity? I got samsara and I can drink it with no problem. So you hold that, and she's happy. So you hold that happy, and you're creating new karma in the situation of your mundane sense of self. And especially when you have faith and love and things like that, then very powerful. So, I'm going to talk about this again, but I just thought, we're doing the sadhana. At this point, you should do your calm abiding after you do the 8 praises, possibly if you did to see the smiling face of the Dakini, just to give yourself inspiration. Then you sit there and you focus on this. And so you spend some time in that. Okay. Then the sadhana practice of Vajrayogini is becoming useful and powerful for you. Okay. Now, having done that, then you go to the mantras. Okay, so this is verbal recitation. Okay, so you want to mix the mantra with the feelings that you're generating out of your body. Okay, now, so the mantra is blessed. There's lots of meaning on that. Again, we'll talk about that when we do the extensive commentary. But it's just, so you're doing the Om 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 Sarvabhuta Dakini, but you're creating particular quality of tone, sort of a particular thing. So you send the energy out to all sentient beings. You can feel all sentient beings appreciate that they're impermanent. One day they're going to die. Hey, what's more important? The quality of who I am, that I have money. What's more important? Quality of who I am. Okay, so then you put that energy out. We also talked about, the before, but I'll just repeat it. We always say, see all sentient beings as Vajrayogini, and they're in the Pure Land. Okay, I like to do it this way. We're all in the playground of enlightenment. That's the Pure Land. And in that playground of enlightenment, we're all on the same team. I and all sentient beings are on the same team. Okay, and the game we're playing is enlightenment. So everybody's Vajrayogini, everybody is blissful. Okay, we're all on the same team trying to score, the goals of enlightenment and things like that. So therefore, you have this camaraderie with yourself and all sentient beings, which is really important. It's part of the Tantra. It's not like sentient beings or, I don't know, whatever. They're all have Buddha nature. They all have the potential of enlightenment. Okay, so when you're doing a mantra, you can focus on that. We're all on the same team. We're all working for enlightenment. Some sentient beings are more skillful at accomplishing that. Some sentient beings are better at playing soccer than other ones, but we're all playing soccer, so like that. So then you do the mantra again, left hand tantra. You have the beads over your ring finger of your left hand, and you pull them. Do that for a little while, and then shift it up to your first finger if you want, or however you want to do it. It's your own choice. And again, if your arm gets tired up here, put it down on your lap. When I did my Yamantaka retreat, I had to do 15 million mantras. So your arm gets really tired if it's holding up here all the time. You didn't do 50 million mantras in one sitting, but it took 2 years to do all of that. So put your arm down on your knee, relax your shoulders. I mean, I ended up having pain in this shoulder because I was holding it, and I had to learn how to go and relax it, do exercise, and sort of have my shoulders. So the objective of practicing tantra and reciting mantras isn't to stress your body and cause pain. Is to recite the mantras and things, and the beads are actually just the counting. Lama Yeshe had an interesting comment. He said, in Tibet, we didn't have watches. I mean, it's really interesting. You don't have an appointment at 10 o'clock, in the morning in Tibet, prior to the Chinese invasion, because most people didn't have watches. So it'd be show up in the morning. Okay. Whereas Lama said, oh, if you know how many mantras you do in a 10-minute period or whatever, then that you can do that as the way that you count mantras. Now, I don't disagree with Lama. He's very smart, but it's sort of nice to sort of say, if you're trying to do the 100,000, that you actually do, with your little beads, but that's again, on average, I've found that most people, if you're doing a mala of Vajrayogini mantras, it takes 12 minutes. So if you're doing it in 8 minutes, you're doing it too fast. If you're doing it in 15 minutes, it's okay, but you're doing a little slow, do a little faster. That's just from experience of having led retreats. So being comfortable in your posture, you've just done your calm abiding, you have a nice sensation of being Vajrayogini. I am bodhicitta for the benefit of all sentient beings. I'm Nirmanakaya. I've manifested for them. And then you take in your left hand over your ring finger, and then you Om circle in front of your heart. You feel you pull energy into your heart with that, and then you can send out light. I mean, as you settle into your mantra recitation, you first touch sentient beings. They all appreciate things are impermanent, and they get liberated of their grasping. They appreciate karma. They start creating better karma. Then they understand interdependence, and then they finally appreciate they're not independently self-existent, and they all become enlightened. They all become Vajrayogini. They go to the Pure Land. So you do that for a little while. And so you do it in stages, and if maybe you just see all sentient beings have Buddha nature and the potential of enlightenment. Again, we're all in the same team playing the game of enlightenment. Again, that's a good idea. So when you open your eyes and you come out, you've got this nice sense of connectedness. People will like you because you're friendly, so you do that. Okay, then you can do offerings to all the Buddhas. But of course, first think, the light goes and it touches the consciousness of all my gurus, Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa, even gurus that have passed. Doesn't matter. That just you feel it touches, like Lingam Rinpoche, Trichin Rinpoche, or maybe Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, whomever the gurus were that you've had in the past, and sort of it touches their mind, and they go, oh, so and so's meditating, and then you feel the wave of their blessings comes back to you. Make it more personal. Then, of course, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the ones that you don't know, are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that their energy comes back to you. So you're setting up a karmic connection with people that have bodhicitta, altruism, however. So then you feel that comes back into you. And so you have that type of thing. So you're creating a receptivity for that. So again, I mean, the recitation of mantra can be very full. Geshe Rapton, again, he helped me a great deal in many of my retreats. He said, if you're doing a lot of mantras, let's say you're going to do 500 or 600 the 3 mantra of Vajrayogini. Okay, if you're doing 5 by 12, that's 1 hour. Okay, just to give you an idea. Okay, so at the 20-minute mark, you've been visualizing and this and that, but then you get tired, just because it's hard work, holding all that vision, that imagination. So then he said, meditate on the graduated path to enlightenment. I won a lottery ticket of a perfect human rebirth. Wow. Hey, I know things are impermanent. I know what's important. Possessions, friends, my body. And so you meditate that. And then, hey, Buddha Dharma Sangha, the Buddha's, the best guide on the path. has, universal love and compassion and wisdom. Dharma is the real thing that helps me liberate my mind. Sangha are my friends that help me along the path. Om 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 Sarva Buddha Dakini. You do that. So yeah, and even, many lamas will say that, meditate on your graduated path to enlightenment, okay, as you do the mantra, if it's a long session, okay. So that's sending light, receiving light, and such. So again, I'm just sort of reviewing the sadhana for you guys a little bit. From there, then you go to the mental recitations. Now, mental recitations are completion stage practices. So after doing the mantra for 10, 20, 100 times, whatever you wanted to do, you focus on being Vajrayogini, but you sit very straight. And I don't know if you'd want to really focus on Vajrayogini stretch like that. You might want to just have the Vajrayogini sits down inside of her double stacked reality sources on her sun cushion, and she sits in meditation posture, which is you sitting in meditation posture. And then your body is hollow. And if you remember, I said like the surface of your skin has got like that incredible light. And remember, in the early morning, as the sun just comes over the horizon and you have this incredibly intense, bright light, that's what you put all over your skin as Vajrayogini. So underneath that's red, but on the surface is this incredibly intensive vibrance, you very, very brilliant. Okay. Then the inside of that is hollow. So if we say red hue for inside of her body, because it's red, her skin is red, but it's hollow inside. And then floating at the level of her heart is their double stack reality sources. Then you drop them down. So the top of the double stack reality source, which has the mantra inside of it, has just about the level of your navel. The moon cushion with the mantras would be just about 2 or 3 fingers below the navel. Width, just cut like an inch or 2 below the navel, or 2-3 centimeters below the navel, but inside the body. And the lower point can either just come down and be floating above the pelvic floor or touching the pelvic floor. They say if you want bliss, it touches the pelvic floor. If you just sort of focus on what's called the inconceivable, you have it floating just a little bit above. So you have that. And then you inhale, and they say you can swallow those saliva, but then you feel you come down and your mind comes down and it goes to the bum syllable, and you try to read the mantra. Now, the Om 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 starts in front of you, inside of the reality source, okay? Starts in front of Om Om Om, and it goes around counterclockwise. So you can try to, if nothing else, just recite it in your mind, like Om 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 Sarva Buddha Dakini Vajra. So you try to do it once or twice or 3 times, sort of feeling that you're seeing with 360 degrees. And then you let your breath go. And again, you inhale, pull it down like that. Again, there'll be more details when we do the long commentary. You do that 2-3 times, okay? And Geshe Rafton gave me a very nice, very good commentary, because you're supposed to see in 360 degrees. He said, your mind can see in 360 degrees, which means, left, right, behind you, in front of you at the same time. You can have that consciousness, okay? So if you took, for example, this paper, and you're coming from above and you come down to sit in it, you're seeing 360 degrees of that piece of paper. So whereas if you sort of say, oh, you weren't looking from above coming down on top of it, but rather you're looking forward and you're coming down on top of it, then of course it's like you're only seeing the front syllables. So because this is inside your abdomen, you try to come down from above, and you can see the circle of the 32 syllables in the central bum. And as you come down, then you try to be, I'm the bum, but I'm still seeing the 32. So just a little exercise you can try. I'm not saying it's going to work for you, but it might. So anyway, you do that. That's the first exercise. Okay, do 2-3 times. The second exercise is you go to the central channel from the third eye, goes up to the crown, straight like an arrow, comes down, hits your pelvic floor, and comes up to in your genitals. Okay, according to the commentary of Lama Yeshe, for a male, it's the top of the penis, the urethra is the lower door, and the front door, of course, is up here. For a woman, according to Lama Yeshe, it's the top of the vagina, like that's the point where it is. And there's commentaries that that's where a woman has the most profound climax, whatever, that's sort of other stuff, but that's according to the teachings that Lama Yeshe gave me. So anyway, so then you have a red bliss swirl in your genitals, spinning counterclockwise. It's about the size of a sesame seed, and it could fit inside of the central channel. And the central channel would be about the size of a milkshake straw. It's a fatter one than a soda straw. Okay, and up at the door here, again, about the size of a sesame seed or maybe a mustard seed, a little white bliss swirl spinning counterclockwise, just at the doorway. So you have these two at the doorway. Again, if you can do it simultaneously, the lower one goes to the pelvic floor up, the one comes up to the crown of the head and down. If you can't do it, then just practice first the lower one and then the upper one to get the familiarity with it. The lower one, as it goes down to the pelvic floor and comes up, generating bliss for you, blissful sensation. The upper one from the forehead to the crown and down is giving an emptiness, openness, space of the sky. The two come together at the heart chakra, and then they merge, they become pink, spin very fast, and then they just evaporate. And in that evaporation inside of the central channel, you end up with the open space of the sky. So you do that, and it's a bliss and voidness. And I like to always be at 30,000 feet, things like that. So you're doing that. So that's the second exercise. Okay, and that sort of concludes the mental recitations. Then, now, having done that, you sort of feel like you're open like the space of the sky. Well, then you come back to your Vajrayogini. And again, you can be inside the mandala in the posture of Vajrayogini at that point. It doesn't say that, but that's what you would do prior to yoga number 10. Then yoga number 10 is the inconceivable. Now, there's the common inconceivable and the uncommon. The common inconceivable is exactly as it reads in yoga number 10. The inconceivable one has to be taught to you privately, only 3 people at a time at the maximum you can have, and it's a special one, verbal presentation only. So depending on if you don't have the uncommon, then you just do this. If you've received the uncommon, as I say, it's going to be in a group of 3 people maximum. It has to be orally transmitted. Then you do that one. Okay, so that's the common or the uncommon yoga of inconceivability. So in this case, again, your yoga 10, you started, I'm back being Vajrayogini. From my heart bum comes the mantra garland, radiates right light, pervades the 3 realms. Now here, Trichy Rinpoche said something funny. He said, well, the formless realm is formless. Formlessness doesn't have color, but just for the sake of whatever, it's blue light, and that goes into the upper portion of your body. Then the desire realm, the form realm goes in red light into the middle part of your body. The desire realm goes into the lower part of your body in the white light. Then your body from above and below dissolves into the reality source in your heart. And again, now here, if you've done the body mandala, you go to the 32 deities and then the principal queen, and then to the reality source in her heart, and into the mantra and the bomb, etc. If you didn't do that body mandala, then you just basically, you go to the reality source, the moon cushion, the mantra, the syllable bum. And yesterday I talked a lot about, and again in the sessions, that like you really develop this ability to have, you could say, microscopically perfect visualizations. So, it's a big me up here sees the reality source in my chest, and then my mind sort of goes down to that. And if it's the body mandala, then there's the queen I focus on, and then I go down inside of her little heart, and there's the double duck reality sources, and there's the moon and the mantra. So you try like very teeny, but it can be vivid. So anyway, irrespective of whether you did body mandala or just the 32 mantras, 32 syllables, they dissolve into the bomb, and the bomb into the thing. So this evening I will post the images for this. So the image for the syllable bomb and the some of the other details, okay? That'll be coming in the class in the evening time. Okay, so then you just go smaller. Now at this time, again, you could do the 8 visions at time of death. But you actually do that more when you're doing yoga 6, that you really spend some time on going to the Dharmakaya and with the 8 visions at time of death. At this point, you could do it if you have time. If not, you just sort of do a rather quicker version of it. That like, okay, I'm dissolving everything back, and then I'm 32,000 feet in the space of the sky. You rest in that. And then because you're a really nice person, you're going to manifest for the benefit of sentient beings. Yoga 11. Within the void, I instantly arise as the holy Vajra Yogini. At the viral spots, I have the discs of the Om Bam Hom Yam Hrim Mam Hrim Hrim Hum Hum Pe Pe. Okay, so and of course with the related, it's just the syllables, but they have the essence of the deity. And actually, there's lots of things. I have to say that it was for me very nice to have to go and study up on all of this commentary, because did you know that the Om Bam it's the 2 syllables that are on the moon disc, underneath your skin, on top of the flesh, that represent, that well, let's see, Mohani. Okay, but what it really is, Om represents Heruka, Bam represents Vajra Yogini. So you have the 2, male and female, on top as the syllables on top of the moon cushion in your abdomen. And then there's this band of red light that goes around that part of your body. I will be posting an image of that, so it makes it really easy for you to go and visualize it. But anyway, just that was interesting. That'll come up in the long commentary. Then, having done that, then you do the Om Sumbani Om Sumba Nisamba Hom Hom Pe Griana Griana Hom Pe Griana Baya Griana Hom. So you click to the 4 cardinal and the 4 quarters. So the 4 cardinal are counterclockwise. The 4 intermediates are clockwise. And then also you do up and down. Again, I'll do that in more detail when we do that section in the long commentary. But it'd be Om Sumbani Samba Hom Hom Pe Griana Griana Hom Pe Griana Ani Om Vajra Hom Pe. And actually Paula has a nice little comment. She says when she does it, she puts her finger pointing upwards. Now, maybe I'm not perfectly quoting Paula, but that's like to get the upper, like that you're sending wrathful deities up. And then in the quarter, in the intermediate directions, going from your right side forward, that's the first one. Then you go the same mantra, Samba Ni Samba Hom Hom Pe Griana Griana Hom Pe Griana Bai Griana Aniwa Vajra Hom Pe, and you feel that also they go down. So you put to the 4 cardinal directions counterclockwise and up, to the 4 intermediate directions clockwise and down. You create like Raffle Kundarohi deities go to those directions and set up protection around you that negativity can't come in. So then that concludes that. So that's where I'm going to stop for today. Possibly this afternoon I'll be able to conclude the review of the Sadhana, and then we can start actually doing the Sadhana from Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the sessions. But for right now, I wanted to review it, that you had a chance. And it's just like 40-50 minutes of commentary on each section of the Sadhana. So we've done that. So please take a comfortable meditation posture. So what did I cover? Well, first, calm abiding, shine, or whatever you want to call it, mindfulness of I am Vajra Yogini, and make it with meaning. It's not just I'm Vajra Yogini and then maybe there's some nice blissful energy. No, like it has meaning. She's bodhicitta. And then all of the implements and things on her have a message. Life is impermanent. Make it meaningful. I'm inspired by Buddha Dharma Sangha. I have the 6 perfections. Again, the more you study, you'll be able to do that. So that's the first thing. So that's what you might want to meditate on a little bit. Then you go to the verbal recitations. And then again, sending light, and you can bring sentient beings through the graduated path, towards them becoming Vajra Yogini and going to the Pure Land as you recite the mantra. Or you could then just focus on your gurus and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, sending back waves of strength. I am capable. Having faith. So you do that, that's with the mantra recitation. Then you do the 2 exercises of completion stage. You go to the void, then you pop back in your Vajrayogini. Then you go into the inconceivable, yoga number 10. Okay, so anyway, meditate for about 10 minutes just on whatever seemed to be most flavorful and meaningful for you. Okay, so bring your awareness back to your meditation. Just in closing thoughts, having deity practices, there is, self as deity, but there's also all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas outside. I mean, you could say Dalai Lama's Vajrayogini, and Lama's always Vajrayogini, and all the other Lamas are all Vajrayogini. So there are external Vajrayoginis. It's not just me trying to do this. So I had one student that she was a woman in about her 50s, and it just with circumstances, a guy about 35 years old started showing up and trying to get her attention and stuff, and finally she said, well, okay, maybe, it's a bit younger than me, but so they got into a relationship, and it went on for, I think, about a year, and she was quite happy with that. Anyway, but then at the year mark, suddenly she found out that he was actually sleeping with other women still, which is a bit of a bummer for her. But anyway, so she says, what the heck, and so she broke the relationship off. But she didn't want to get caught up with sort of, oh, poor me, and this and that, and I'm so sad, all of that sort of, all the typical sort of like, I'm betrayed and I hate you and things like that. She didn't want that. So she just went into Vajrayogini practice. She just did intensive amounts of Vajrayogini. She just said, I'm a liberated lady. I'm a liberated lady. I'm blissful. I'm happy, like that. And she said, took a little while, a couple months, but she said she actually surfaced feeling better about herself than she ever had before, even though the relationship had failed. So I want you to remember things like that, your deity practice, you could say she was calling on Vajrayogini to say, hey, Vajrayogini, you're a liberated lady. Bring me to that state. I want to help me to come to that state. So there is sort of a devotional side to Vajrayogini practice. It's not simply just like I'm identifying and such. So you can do that, whether it's again with Yamantaka or whether with Vajrayogini, whatever seems to be most appropriate. You can be devotional to the deity because there are external Vajrayoginis, there are external Yamantakas, there are external Heruka Chakras, and they can help you with particular issues that you might have. So there is an aspect of devotion to the practice, but there's also the practice, the aspect of self-identification. So with that thought, we're closed with a dedication prayer. So just again, for the effort, for example, some of you, I think in Mexico, you get up at 4 a.m, congrats, it's very good. So that's really great. So with my effort of getting up early in the morning, or if I'm maybe in India or Malaysia, it's in the afternoon, the effort of doing that and all of my practice and my attentiveness, I dedicated to becoming a more enlightened person. What's the meaning of that? That I offer my generosity, my ethics, my principles, my patience, my wisdom, my love to all sentient beings. May our holy gurus all live very, very long lives to inspire us. And may there be peace in the world. Okay, so thank you very much. That concludes this morning's review of the Sadhana. Okay, so take good care. See you in a couple hours. Bye.